And they're just watching us get blown up day after day after day.
It got real though once I got into the classroom and our instructor had the TV on and it was the shot of just the first tower burning.
Holy shit. I didn't know what to think.
Our world was changing. Like, everything about our world was going to change.
Although the North Tower was hit first, the South Tower fell first. So when the South Tower fell, that was just like a punch in the gut. So I called home, I called my parents, like, which tower is he in? What's happening? And it was, you know, the longest 90 minutes of my life. It was just when that tower went down, it just changed everything.
They say if it rains on your R-Day parade, it means you're going to combat. And at the time, you know, this would have been, you know, June of 2000. There's nothing going on. You know, I thought like we might go to Bosnia or something, but that, you know, I was more thinking about, it was really uncomfortable to be wet right now, you know.
We were the class that we did our first day of Yuck Year not knowing we were going to go into war. So, you know, like, the other class after us knew about 9/11. We didn't know it was going to happen. So for us, it was kind of, war was kind of like, you know, this far off distant thing that may or may not happen. But then it became like a serious reality of, oh crap, let me get my stuff together. This is a conflict that's going to potentially put my life and the lives of my soldiers at risk, which it did. So that's something that is a harsh reality for a teenager almost. Like, literally a teenager going into like your young adult years to realize you're about to go fight someone who does not like you and attack your homeland.
I think we didn't lose anyone after 9/11 because I know there was definitely cadets that, you know, said, hey, this isn't for me. You know, I volunteered to come here to serve, but that was a time when we didn't know we were going to go in combat and deploy.
I think during our time, post 9/11, there, at least what I felt and what I sensed in my interactions with strangers, with families and friends, was there was this reflex to support the military no matter what. And so while I was at West Point, people were saying, oh, thank you for your service, thank you for what you do. And while I was certainly grateful for people supporting the military and the Army at the time, I felt weird hearing that because I didn't really feel like I had done anything yet.
You know, after my brother was killed, going back to Brooklyn, we had sort of this vigil at our house. We just didn't know what was happening or where he was or what to do. And I remember friends, you know, grow up coming in one by one, you know, saying like, I'm gonna join the Marines, let's go get them, I'm gonna do this. And none of them, majority of them didn't do it. And it was just sort of in par with President Bush at the time, you know, the old speech of like, you know, go back to life, or, you know, America kind of went back to the ball, if you will, and that couldn't be further from the truth for myself and my classmates and classes before and after ours at West Point, and then of course the entire military whose lives have been defined by 9/11 and the wars afterwards.
You know, most Americans went back on trips. They took, you know, they got on planes, they worked in tall office buildings, and they, in fairly short order, they did so without fear. That wasn't by accident. It happened because there were about 1 million volunteers that raised their right hand and lived out an oath that took them to some pretty dangerous parts of the world.
Jeez, that's a lot. I've been to Iraq 3 times and Afghanistan once, starting from 2005 to 2011.
1, 2, 3, 4th overall deployment. My second one to Afghanistan.
I was in Afghanistan for a little over 2 years.
When I was a company commander, we already knew that we were withdrawing down in Afghanistan. And so there was an infantry outpost that was, I don't know, maybe 10 miles north of our larger outpost that we were at. And they had been air resupplied probably for 3+ years, maybe longer. They had vehicles on their outpost, but none of them functioned. They were all blown up. So it came time to close that outpost. if we're gonna get all that stuff out of there, that road has to be open. It's just 10 miles of road. It took us 6 days to get down it. Our equipment wasn't detecting the bombs the way that we would like them to. And so I remember one day we only made it 100 meters. And it's just incredibly frustrating. We've got vehicles out in front, vehicles in the middle of our formation that are blown up, finding bombs behind us that we missed. It was just a mess. And we just didn't have it. And I was just wearing myself out. It's just like running into a wall over and over and over.
Yeah, so in Iraq, my second deployment, it was March 3rd, 2007. I got a call from my platoon sergeant that 3 of my soldiers had been killed by a deep buried IED. And they were burned to the ground. And you don't know how to process the grief. Because I didn't process the grief. We didn't process it well. Army teaches you to quench the grief, quench the emotion, and get the job done. And so we did that. We did that from March, April, May, June, July, August, September. 8 months. Quench the emotion, get the job done for 8 months. And then you get back and you try to process through it, but it doesn't process. You're just a jerk now. And now you're reckless. And now you have drinking problems. And now you're wild. That's what that was. 5 years later or so, the squad leader that took that squad down the black route we told him not to, he ended up killing himself because he couldn't deal with the guilt. How did I not get blown up and they did? I still, like, every year, like, we honor the people. We still keep the legacy alive of Peak, Par, and Moyer. And I literally carry their dog tags in my uniform to this day. I carry each of their dog tags in my uniform on me every day. Because I remember we owe it to our soldiers to provide them the best leadership possible. Because they're going to risk their lives for us. They will. They'll risk their lives for us. And this is proof. There's Sergeant Michael Peak, there's Sergeant Ashley Moyer, and Sergeant Brandon Parr. Please remember them. March 3rd, 2007.
People just needed to process somehow. And I remember going to the back room and just crying because I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. A lot of my family and civilian friends don't understand, and I think the unfortunate part is what 9/11 did was force a generation into situations that we were not mentally equipped to handle. My professional experience was just so go, go, go all the time. I never truly I never blocked off moments to reflect and process everything. And I really learned that, thankfully, through cadets at West Point, because they would ask me questions similar to what we're talking about now, and those moments would be the first time I actually had to deal with experiences as I was describing them. And so really what I think people could do for each other, what you could do for yourself, regardless of if you're in the military or if you know someone in the military or even if you don't, it's just talk to that person as a human being and find out their story. Hopefully they're willing to talk to you and share their story, but I think in the act of sharing and talking, that's how we get to baseline humanity and connecting.
You have to give yourself grace and give each other grace. And the best way to build bonds and relationships is being vulnerable and honest with people.
Always reach out to people that might need help. Like, always.
Reach out, pick up the phone, check in on your classmates, folks that you haven't talked to in a while. One of the things I've really enjoyed about this is I travel a fair amount for work, and I've enjoyed being able to sit down and connect with people that I've lost touch with. And what's funny is they don't look at you and say, we haven't really talked in a long time. We just pick up right where we left off, which is really a rewarding thing about our class. I mean, this place and in general, just being a former cadet and in the military, I think it comes with the territory. I think what's important about the Strong Gray Line is more than focusing on the institution, we want to focus on its people. When I think about the Army or West Point, it's not waking up early and going on a ruck march or jumping out of a plane or deploying. It's about the people that were alongside you while you did those things. That's our greatest asset. So it's important that we take care of ourselves.